Hi, my name is Andrew Weiss. In today's podcast, we're going to use MetaManager to clean up a little bit of a mess in our Cognos environment. We've got some broken shortcuts and broken report views that we want to deal with. We've also have some new features in MetaManager 3.4 to help us clean up, document, back up some of our environment. So let's walk through a use case together. First, we're going to start in Report Validator. Report Validator has the capability of validating reports, queries, analyses, but it also actually has a feature in it to validate shortcuts and report views. What I'm going to do is go to the Advanced Search Path box, make sure our Advanced Search Path Mode checkbox is checked, and search for all of the shortcuts in my environment. So I'll say /content // shortcut. This finds all of the shortcuts in my environment, and I can take this and bring it to the right-hand side so that I can validate them. But instead of bringing the search to the right-hand side, I'm going to save this in my favorites because I'm going to use it in a few places. So we'll right-click on that search and we'll say Add to Favorites. We'll give it a name, All Shortcuts. I'm also going to search for all of the report views in my environment. So /content / report view. So there we go, there's a number of them. Again, I can drag the advanced search right over, but I'm going to save them to my favorites as well. And we'll call this all report views. So back in my MetaManager tree under searches, I can see those two saved searches, and I can see them in any module. I can expand them in any module and use them in various places. So I'll take the two of those and drag them to the right-hand side for Report Validator. And then go ahead and hit the Validate button. What MetaManager is going to do is open up each one of these objects and validate that it's okay in the content store. OK for a report means that the specification is valid and that it executes properly against the data source. For a shortcut, it just means that the thing that the shortcut points to is okay and exists, and the same for the report views. So we can see we've got a number of objects that are okay and a number with errors. This one here points to a non-existent report. In fact, with all report views, the error is typically going to be it points to a non-existent report. Down in our shortcut section, we've got 3 shortcuts that are okay and a few shortcuts that are broken. We can see some extra information that it's a non-existent target, but we can also see what it used to point to. Now, for today's use case, my job is going to be to delete these broken items from our content store so that we can clean up and get rid of some of the broken stuff. Before I do that, just to kind of cover myself and make sure I'm safe, I want to document them so that I can document this and say, these are the things that I deleted. And I also want to back them up, so I have a backup just in case it was a mistake. Also along the way, I'm going to show you how we're going to fix one of the report views because I happen to recognize one report view that I know I can fix. So let's start by fixing the report view. If we come up to Report View of Sales Report Index, I happen to know where the report for that actually exists. First, let's find out where this is. There's a number of ways we can do that. We can look in the bottom pane and see that it's in the public folders _AD folder. Or I can right-click on the grid and say Show Full Path. Now I can see the entire path of where these objects exist. Okay, what I'm going to do now is go over to the Object Editor Extended Module, collapse the sidebar, and I'm going to navigate to the _AD folder and find that report view that's broken. I'm going to drag that to the bottom pane because that's the object that we're going to update. And we're going to choose the Set Base Report option for report views. I happen to know that the report got deleted and then restored from a backup in a different location, and that's why the report view can't find it. So I'll take this report, the sales report, from the left-hand side and drag it to the text box here that says drag and drop a new base report to this area. And then when I'm complete, I hit the update button, and that report is now the base report for this report view. I could have updated many reports in bulk down here, but I just needed to update the one. Let's come back over to our Report Validator module, and we'll revalidate the entire environment and check to make sure that this one here is fixed. Fantastic. So we were able to fix one, but we're left with a bunch of broken ones. Now, I have my two searches here that are all shortcuts and all report views, but I don't want to work with all shortcuts and report views. I just want to work with the broken ones, because those are the ones I'm going to be deleting. So what I'm going to do is come up to here and hit this button that says Remove Unimpacted Reports. I click that button. What it does is it removes all of the rows in the grid that have a status of OK, leaving just the ones with the status of errors. So this is fantastic. I now have my 7 things that I want to delete from the content store. But I need to go and document these and back them up before I go delete them. So one of the new features to help this and in interoperability between modules in MetaManager 3.4 is for many of these screens you can right click and say Save as Favorite. So I've selected 7 things, and I'm going to say Save as Favorite, and I'm going to call this Broken Stuff About to be Deleted. Now we hit the OK button, and we can see a new green folder shows up underneath the Favorites section. The difference between favorites and searches. So searches are dynamic. They are a query. So all shortcuts, remember, was //content //shortcut. Every time I expand this, it's going to re-execute that query. So the results of this may be different tomorrow. Whereas under favorites, favorites are logical groupings of specific things, a static set of things. So we have 7 things in here. There's nothing dynamic about that. We want to make a distinction between things that are static and things that are dynamic. We're going to use those differently. Okay, let's continue on with our use case. Now let's head over to Content Store Documenter and document this stuff. One of the benefits of the MetaManager Portal tree is that it's shared amongst all of the modules. So I saved some searches and some favorites in the Report Validator module, and they're immediately available in the Content Store Documenter module. So what I want to do here is take the Broken Stuff About to be Deleted folder and drag that to the right hand side. That's going to drop the contents of the folder. So there's 7 things that we're going to document. We can come down to the bottom pane and select a group of general information. Let's see if that's everything we want. The creation time, I'm going to add ancestors. I want to know where these things were located. The description and default name, I don't need this information. What type of object we were deleting. Let's also document who the owner of that object was at the time. The search path and the store ID for where it was located. And I think that's a good set of options. So let's go ahead and document that out to file. Great, so now I have a document that I can hand off to my boss and say, hey boss, I deleted these objects. If any problems with them, let me know. I've got a backup. This is the stuff that I did delete today using MetaManager. So we'll hold on to that document. And now let's head over to Backup and Restore. And in here we can see here's our favorite section again, and I want to back up these objects. So I'll just drag them to the right hand side and give the module a second to load. It's going to load up those 7 reports. So we'll give a backup file and hit the backup button. Great, so MetaManager is going to go out and retrieve each one of those objects. It's backing up a package along the way. It's picking up the model. Because I asked it to back up Ancestry at the time. I didn't have to. I could have backed up just those 7 objects. If there's any schedules associated with anything here, which I don't believe there are, but it would have backed those up as well. And they're going to go out to a MetaManager archive file. Great, now that that's complete, we're in pretty good shape. I think it's time for us to go in and delete our objects. We can go back over to Report Validator. We could have done it from any module, but we'll go to Report Validator, and we can come right into the favorites area here, right-click those objects, and simply hit delete. Right, so MetaManager's context menu allows you to select any object in the content store, right-click it, and delete it, and it will delete it from the content store. One of the benefits or features in 3.4 was the ability to take a list from the right-hand side, save as a favorite, so that you can get that definitive list together. Right? These objects that are presumably throughout the entire content store, we get them together in one list, select them, and hit delete. MetaManager asks me if I want to delete these 7 objects. I hit OK. And my Broken Stuff About to be Deleted folder is now empty. And if I clear out my screen, I'll drag over Shortcuts and Report Views again. And when this executes, we should see a smaller list. We should also see that everything is in OK state. Well, thank you for spending the time to watch the podcast today. Hopefully you learned a trick or two in MetaManager between using the Report Validator module for report views and shortcuts, using the Content Store Documenter module, using the Backup and Restore module, as well as some of the functionality in the Portal treated to use searches, favorites, and delete objects directly in Content Store. Thank you very much.